Hey there, y'all. It's Miss Campbell, and today we are going to be going through our test review because we're going to be having our test tomorrow, and it's on simplifying radicals, multiplying polynomials, and finding the greatest common factor. So we're going to go through all of those things today, and we're going to talk about some test-taking strategies as well. If you were not here yesterday, you did miss our first day of factoring, but we'll get you caught up on that on Friday. Okay, what we need to be prepared for is our test tomorrow. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Everybody as a whole, okay, we're working on the test review. I'm going to go through some of the problems with you guys. And then you are going to be responsible for completing the rest of them on your own. Okay, and then this is going to be due. We're going to be turning it in on test day. So we're going to be turning it in on Thursday, February 10th. Okay, so just please make sure that you have it done and ready by then. And if you do all the ones that we're going to do together, that will be quite a few of them. All right, so first problem we are going to work out here is going to be number 1. Okay, and so they're saying which expression is equivalent to 3s squared minus 11s plus 6. Okay, we haven't gotten to how to factor this yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a test-taking strategy of working backwards. And we're going to take our answer choices and we are going to multiply them back together, because remember, when you have two things that are in parentheses next to each other, that means they're being multiplied. So we're going to use the box method. Remember, we learned that, so to multiply polynomials. So we're going to go through and we're going to multiply these back together and see which one gives us our original. Now, I do want you to look here at the first part here. We need to get a 3s squared. So we're going to kind of look at our answer choices first and see if we can eliminate any that would not give us a 3s squared. So if I see a, if I do 3s here times s over there, that would give me 3s squared. So I have to keep a. Now look at b. I just have an s here, and then I would multiply it by s there. So s times s, that's just s squared, but I need 3s squared. So automatically I can get rid of answer choice b. So cross that one out. We'll look at the other ones here. 3s times s, that's 3s squared, and then the same thing for d. So now we're just going to go through and we're going to choose. Another thing that you could also look at is the last one here, right? Positive 6. So that would come from your constants. So if I look at my constants here, if I do a negative 2 times a negative 3, that's a positive 6, right? So I have to keep a. Now look at c. Negative 1 times negative 6. What's negative 1 times negative 6? That is positive 6. So I have to keep c because that's what I want. But look at d here. 6 times 1, well, again, they're both positive, so I got to keep that one. So I haven't really been able to eliminate any others. So I'm just going to have to start doing the box method, and then I'll see which one's going to multiply out here. So I'm going to do the first one here. I'm going to do, we have 3s and then minus 2, and we are multiplying it by s minus 3. So s minus 3. So now let's go and multiply. 3s times s is 3s squared. S times negative 2 would be negative 2s. And then negative 3 times 3s, that would be negative 9s, because 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then negative 3 times negative 2, that would be positive 6. And then now we combine like terms. So listen to the steps I've done. I use the box method to multiply them. And now I'm going to combine like terms to simplify my answer. So I look for my highest exponent first on my variable. So it's s squared is my highest. So I have 3s squared. And then I'm going to look here. I have a negative 2s and a negative 9. And I'm going to add that. So negative 2 plus negative 9 is negative 11. So minus 11s. And then the last one here, I have 6, right? There's no other constant, so just plus 6. So does that give me what I need? Yes. So what is my answer choice going to be? A. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at here will be number 2. So it says, which expression is equivalent to negative 36g minus 45g squared? Okay, so in this question, you can think of it 2 ways. You can either factor out a greatest common factor, because we can see negative 36 and negative 45. We can divide those both by 9 or negative 9. Just depends on what they're pulling out here. And they also have a g. So I could take out at least one g from both of them, because this one has g and that one has g squared. Or if I just don't remember how to do the greatest common factor, what can I do instead? I can use my answer choices, because I know how to multiply negative 9g, like here on answer choice F, I know how to multiply negative 9g into both the 4 and the 5g and see if it matches what I need. So let's try that. So let's try answer choice F. Okay, we're going to do negative 9g, okay, and that's a 1. It's a monomial here. So our box would be a 1. And then we're multiplying it into 2 things here. So 1 by 2. So we have a 4 and a positive 5g. So we have a 1 by 2. So now just multiply. What's negative 9 times, or negative 9g times 4? That's negative 36g. And then negative 9g times positive 5g. Well, that would be negative 45. And g times g is g squared. So does that give me what I need? Do I have negative 36g minus 45g squared? Yes. So what's my answer? F. And obviously, if that one did not work out, you could go along and you could keep trying different ones out. Okay. Now, ways you can kind of use to eliminate, so you don't have to do as many box methods, is look at the signs, right? To get a negative 36 here in the front, I have to have one thing that's negative and one that's positive, right? So negative 9 times positive 4, that would give me negative 36. Okay, 9 times negative 4, that would give me negative 36. Negative 9 times positive 4, that would also give me that. So I can't really use the first ones to eliminate. But then you could also go and check and see here. If you do the outside number, negative 9 times positive 5, would I get negative 45? Yeah. And just kind of go through and you can use those to eliminate. All right, next thing here, which expression is equivalent to the square root of 120? Okay, guys, here we go. So remember, you got to take your number inside 120, and remember that we use the calculator. You go menu 2, 3, okay? So menu and then number, and then 3 is for factor, okay? So menu, number, factor, and this is just on the regular calculate screen, and it will get you the prime factors of 120. So if I do that, if I do menu 2, 3 and put 120 in there, I get 2 to the power of 3 times 3 times 5. And remember, we can write this out long ways. So 2 to the power of 3, I have to write 3 2s because that's what that exponent tells me. And then the 3 is just going to stay there, and the 5. And then now I look for groups. Okay, I look for pairs specifically. So I only have a single 5, a single 3. Look at these 2s. I can make a single pair. So remember, whatever you make a pair of, that number comes to the outside. So there's nothing already outside our square root. So now I'm going to bring out a 2. And then you see how we have these 2, 3, and 5 left over? Well, those are going to go back inside because they're all loners. They don't have a pair to go out with. So now just go and multiply the insides together. So we have 2 and then the square root, and 2 times 3 times 5 is going to give you 30. So our answer choice here is 2 square root 30. But if you're just like, I don't remember all that, guess what you can do? You can type in the square root of 120 into your calculator. And then you can also type in your answer choices and then find which 2 match. So if I type in the square root of 120 in my calculator, so that's control, and then you press the X squared button to get the square root. So square root 120 and press enter, I get 10.95 so-and-so, right? And then if I do my answer choice here, if I type in 2 square root 30, so so press 2 and then control X squared for the square root 30 and press enter, I get a matching decimal. So y'all, if it comes down to getting it right, just type these in the calculator, please. Okay, question 4. That's the next kind we're going to go over here. It says, which expression is equivalent to 4p minus 8 times 5p minus 4? Now, in this case, they don't give us the answer choices because this is the review, but how would we find out the expression that's equivalent? What is this telling us to do? It's telling us to multiply. So set up a box method. You have 2 terms times 2 terms. So you need a 2 by 2. So 4p and then minus 8 from your first one. And then the other one is 5p and then minus 4. And now just multiply. So 4p times 5p, that's 20p squared. 5p times negative 8, that's negative 40p. Negative 4 times 4p, that's negative 16p. Negative 4 times negative 8, that's a positive 32. And now we're going to go through and combine like terms. So 20p squared, that's my only p squared, so that will be first. Okay, and then now the negative 40p and the negative 16p, those can be combined. And so in your calculator, I want you to type negative 40 plus negative 16. And that would give you negative 56p. And then finally, 32 are constant. That's the only constant. So we just put it on the end here. And there you go. So if they give you 2 polynomials, specifically 2 binomials like this in parentheses, just multiply them out using the box method and make sure that you combine like terms and start writing your answer with that highest exponent on the variable first. All right, number 5. Which function is equivalent to g of x equals 16n squared minus 64n plus 64? Well, I don't know what to do with that there, but I do know what I can do with these answer choices, and I know that they're equivalent. So if I multiply these guys out, I should get this, right? And that's exactly what we're going to do. So what I need you to do, look at first, is kind of check and see. Look at anything here, see if you could eliminate. And it doesn't really look like we can, because if I do 16n times n, that's 16n squared, and then negative 8 times negative 8, that's positive 64. And yeah, kind of the same thing throughout, right? So the main thing I want you to look at, though, is answer choices B and D, right? Do y'all see how they have like 4n plus 8, and then all of that gets squared? Or down here is 4n minus 8, and that gets squared. Okay, you have to remember, okay, what does this actually mean? So 4n plus 8 squared means 4n plus 8 times 4n plus 8. Remember, this little squared, the little exponent, tells you to write it 2 times because it's a 2 there. So when you see answer choices like this, you need to write it out double and then multiply it. So we're going to use the same process that we have been using, multiplying our answer choices back together to see if we get the original. And so you might have to do a couple of box methods to do that. So let's go through here and let's try this first one here, the 4n plus 8 squared. So I wrote it double because it's squared. So now do a box method. So 4n plus 8 and 4n plus 8. So now multiply 4n times 4n, that's 16n squared. 4n times 8, that's 32n. 8 times 4n, that's another 32n, and positive 8 times positive 8, that's 64. Now look here, in the middle, like I can tell the 16n squared and the 64, those are going to work, right? But in the middle, I need negative 64, but I have a positive 32 and a positive 32. If I do 32 plus 32, is that going to get me negative 64? No. So I can automatically eliminate answer choice B. Okay. So just for fun, let's see here. Let's try D. See if that will work for us. So we're going to do 4n minus 8 squared. Remember, you got to write it double. So 4n minus 8 times 4n minus 8. So let's try the box method with that. So 4n and minus 8 and 4n minus 8. So 4n times 4n, again, is 16n squared, because n times n is n squared. 4 times negative 8, 4n times negative 8 is negative 32n. Negative 8 times 4n, that's negative 32n. And then negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64. So now let's write out our answer here. We would have 16n squared, and then a negative 32n and another negative 32. If you do negative 32 plus negative 32, you get negative 64. So we'd have minus 64n, and then finally our constant plus 64. And so check this. Does it match our original? Yes. So we have found our answer choice. And if that one didn't work, we'd have to do the box method with A and C and figure out which one would. So the whole thing on this test is using your answer choices to get back to your original. So number 6 will be the same technique. Number 7 will be the same technique. Number 8, what are we going to do with these? Type them in the calculator. Type the answer choices in the calculator. Match them up. If you want to do the factor tree, that's great. We can do that too. Okay, number 9, they're asking for the area, right? What's the area? So length times width, you're just doing box method. 13x minus 5 times 5x plus 6. Okay, you're doing the box method and you can get the answer from there. I am going to be posting a partial key. Okay, so that means I'm going to have all the answers. Some will have work, some will not have work on them. Your responsibility is to do all the work. Okay, number 10, again, look, what does this mean to do? Multiply them, set up a box method. All right, the next section on here is some more practice problems of, multiplying polynomials here. Remember, if they have a squared, you got to write it out double and multiply it. Okay, 17, 18, more square root practice. So these are all ones that we know how to do. Y'all can do on your own. Now, the last page here is more review of some older topics that we are going to be reviewing on this test. So we need to make sure that we've got this down. So I'm going to look at a couple of these with you guys, and then we're going to be done here. So number 19, now we have parentheses with the exponent outside. So we're going to do the power rule. Remember, in here, this x, it's really got an exponent of 1, right? In the power rule, you multiply the exponent on the outside to both of the exponents on the inside here. So this will become x to the power of, 1 times 3, so x to the power of 3. And then the y had a negative 3, and we're going to multiply it by 3. So it'll be y to the power of negative 9. And then it depends on how they're going to form out their answer choices. You might leave it like this, or you might have to, remember, move that y to the negative 9, move it down to the denominator. So it's no longer a negative exponent. But a lot of times they tend to leave it like this. So that's like number 20 as well. Okay, on 21 here, look at that. You got to do the power rule to all 3 things in here. Yeah, and then the power rule to these 2. And then after you do the power rule and the power rule, what would you do? The product rule, because they're being multiplied. So I'm going to let you work that one up there. 22, look at this. Quotient rule, okay, because you're dividing. So quotient rule, remember you subtract your exponents. And then 23, that's a fun one there, because you got in the inside in these parentheses, you got your quotient rule. And after you do the quotient rule, then you would go through and you would do the power rule. So the main ones that I'm really looking at here are like 19 and 20, but 21, 22, 23, you guys can review your exponent rules and go through those. Now the last part here, the last 3 questions are for systems of equations. Okay, so they're asking you to write a system of equations. So remember, that's two equations, and you're going to have two variables in each. So let's look at the first one here. So there are 15 plates in the kitchen and cabinet. So we have a collection of plates. Altogether, there's 15. The diameter of each plate is either 7 inches or 12 inches. So guys, that's separating it into our two groups. So we have X and Y. So X, if you read here, it says which system of equations can be used to find the number of 7-inch plates. So X is going to represent the 7-inch plates, and Y is going to represent the 12-inch plates. So now let's go back here. It said altogether we have what? 15 plates. And that's going to be a combination of the 7-inch and the 12-inch. We just don't know how many of each, right? So there's your first equation. The 7-inch plates, X, plus however many 12-inch plates, Y, all together is equal to 15 plates. So that's one equation. So go through and look at these, and if you don't see X plus Y equals 15 in some kind of format here, then you can get rid of it. So we could get rid of B, right? Okay, and that's about the only one so far. Oh, look at the A. X plus Y equals 140. We can get rid of that. So now let's look at the last part. The diameter of all 15 plates combined is 140 inches. So y'all, every X plate is going to be 7 inches. So 7 inches wide times however many X plates there are, plus the Y, how wide are they? 12. And then how many of them are there? We don't know, but we're calling that Y. So the number of plates times the width, right, of each type of plate, if we added that all together, then it would give us 140. So now go look at your other equations here. So 7x and 12y has to equal 140. So which one is it? Well, C. You gotta be careful on D. You see, they have the right numbers, but they did not put it with the right variables. So you have to be very careful when you read how they're defining their variables there. All right, the next one here, this one's especially important. Number 25 and number 26. So it says, my bought 5 CDs and 6 DVDs for $50. Okay, right away, what are the two things we're buying? CDs and DVDs. So X will be the number. Okay, so X will be, sorry, not the number. X we're just going to call CDs, right? And then Y, we're going to call that DVDs, yes? And so I know that if I buy 5 CDs, so 5 CDs, so 5X, and she bought 6 DVDs, so 6Y, because we're trying to find the cost of each one, right? Oh, I realized they told us to use C and D, didn't they? So let's back up. Let's fix that. So that makes sense, right? C is going to be CDs and D is going to be DVDs. So 5C plus 6D. And how much did you spend? $50. Okay. So 5 times the cost of 1 CD plus 6 times the cost of 1 DVD equal to $50. Now we've got Marco. It says Marco bought 4 CDs. So right there, 4C and 8 DVDs. So and 8 DVDs. But he spent $18 more. He did not spend $18. He spent 18 more than what Mai did. So you have to take what Mai did, what Mai spent, and add the 18 to it. So he spent 68. And there you go. That would be your system of equations. So now 26 is very similar. So like I said, y'all are working on this. You are completing all the problems. Whatever you don't finish, you are turning into your homework. And we are going to be turning this in on test day tomorrow. If you do have any questions, please make sure to ask your teacher. I will address a couple of questions before the test tomorrow since I was out today. But if you need any help, just ask a friend, consult your notes, and try to get as much of this complete as possible. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.